welcome. So wonderful to see you all here. It is 11:11 Eastern time and so fun to see you all coming on. All right, yep, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, welcome. Hello, I'm Lydia Knight. I'm the founder of the She Center. So excited to get started today. All right, yes, we are live. Okay, so hi. Let's get going. It is 11:11 Eastern time. Let's take a deep breath. Hello, welcome all of you that are on live and listening to the playback. I am Lydia Knight, the founder of the She Center, and today we are going to be talking about the most effective tool that you've ever learned from the data of over 9,000 women that have transformed their lives, and I'm going to share it here with you today, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So excited to have you on, and hello and welcome. Let's take another deep breath for all of us joining. All right, let's talk about transformation. So one thing that we see quite often that I want all of you to be aware of is getting stuck in the healing journey. It's this, I'm just going to be healing for the rest of my life. I'm always on a healing journey. And don't get me wrong, healing is so incredibly important. Healing is essential. It's foundational. And it's not the place that you want to stay. It's not the place that you want to live. You can do whatever you want. You can heal for the rest of your life, but you don't need to. When it comes to real transformation, when we're talking about women who have completely transformed their lives, it's not because they've just healed more and more or healed the same stuff for 5 years straight. It's they took like 8 focused weeks and like got their healing done and then moved on to creating the life that thrills them, that feels amazing. So we're going to give a quick overview of what transformation actually is, and then some of the most effective tools as the women in our community have shared specifically of this is the thing that has made the biggest difference. So if you have those people in your life who are like, they've turned everything around, they're living the life that I want to live, they feel how I think that I want to feel, they are inspiring, or you are admiring them, they've probably gone on a transformation journey and they've learned a lot, and some of the tools that they have practiced have been way more effective than others. So we're going to talk about some of the most effective ones, because there are lots of things you can practice for your whole life. You can practice something that doesn't work for decades and feel like you're failing, when the thing is that the modality or what you were doing was never going to get you where you needed to go. Like, that's just like not how you get from point A to point B. So not only the journey of effective transformation, but like using the tools that are going to be most effective in getting you there. We talk about taking your healing journey from decades to days, taking your transformation journey from decades to days. So yeah, so fun to see you all on here. Hello, hello. All right. So in transformation, the first step is often getting out of crisis or getting out of things that are creating suffering in your life. So crisis might be you have some habit that's taking a lot of time and creating a lot of shame and a lot of misery. So you need to break that habit first. You need to take the thing that is like sucking your life force away, and you need to change that. Great, do that. Maybe don't spend the rest of your life doing that. Find the most effective tools, do that, and then move forward. Then there are the things that cause suffering. Now, there's pain in life, like life is full of pain. There are real things that happen. The suffering is all of the limiting beliefs and the mindset that's on top of it that really creates this suffering where, yeah, the thing that happened was painful. The story that you are telling yourself about it, that is where the lasting suffering happens. So being out of that, being done with the people pleasing, being done with the imposter syndrome, being done with the not good enough, like, okay, let's get those things out of the way. Then you have a level of self-love and self-worth where you look around and you only get upset when people treat you worse than you treat yourself. So you start seeing, oh, you know what? Now that I treat myself better, there are people in my life that have loved me the whole time, that treat me well, great. And then there are people in my life that now it's very clear that they are treating me worse than I treat myself. They are not up to my standard. So a next step in transformation is teaching people how to treat you. And then you design the life that is most authentic and fulfilling to you. So understand that the data that I'm talking about today, these are women that like they have transformed their whole lives. This is year after year. It's, I didn't know my life could be any better because I've come so far, and it's better than I could have imagined, and that keeps on happening year after year. Transformation is the gift that keeps on giving. It keeps on getting better and better, and it's very awesome, and it's very wonderful, and I want you all to be able to experience it because it's quite lovely. Okay, so let's talk about the most effective tools of how to get there. So when we have an amazing community of women who have been transforming for years with us. Again, not healing from the same things, but like getting better every year. And a coach on our team, incredible coach, Kels, was on with a group of these women that have created phenomenal transformation in their lives. And so she asked them such a wise question. She said, in how far you've come in all this transformation, in creating a life that you absolutely love, what has been the most effective tool that has helped you to get there? The very most effective tool that has created transformation in your life. So we're going to go through some of those top tools today. And what's really fun is we've coached 9,000 clients since 2010. We have seen transformation in the thousands. I love that I get to personally witness this every day of my life. It's an absolute joy. And with that, you see that transformation, and it's a beautiful thing. And then when you coach someone, you give them not what they want, but what they need. Like, what is going to be most effective in their transformation? And then as a coach, you oftentimes, out of that context, forget about what you said because you're just talking from like the data and the coaching that you've refined over the years. So it's really fun to hear this back because I was like, oh, that's right, I said that. Or that's right, Kel said that. Or that's right, Coach Jillian said that. Okay, so first, very most effective tool, the concept of practice and that information is not transformation. Here's what that means. When we have a problem in our life, we're oftentimes continually searching for like the silver bullet, like the thing that is really going to get us out of this crisis, which makes sense. That's wonderful. You should be alleviating your pain and suffering, like absolutely. The trap that we get caught in is when we find a little bit of information about our problem. Note, not the solution. When you find information about your problem. So for instance, if you have someone that can describe your problem better than you can even describe, if you find some new word or diagnosis for your problem, if you find a community that relates with your problem, even though none of what you found was about the solution, what happens is we have these feel-good hormones like dopamine that go off in our brain when we find out a little bit more about our problem. So information is not transformation means that when you watch all the podcasts and read all the books and see all the videos, it doesn't actually mean necessarily that you're getting better at all. It means that you're creating this addiction to more information about your problem that gives you a little bit of relief right in the moment, but then doesn't transform or change or better your life at all. So you really want to be aware of this. There's a difference between temporary relief and really fixing the problem. So what this woman in our community who has made all of these women are like huge transformation, all right, of everything that she's learned. This was the thing that she said changed her life the most, is understanding that it's not just about more information. Information is not transformation. And the concept of practice, where the things that really create transformation are not like this one-time aha moment. That can feel really good. That can give you a couple of good weeks. But if you want a good life, what it's going to be is a consistent practice that is happening, where you find an effective tool and it's just what you do. It's just what you do. And you create it as part of your identity. And that's when you can look back every year of your life and be like, I had no idea my life could be this good. And then the next year, I thought my life couldn't even better. I had no idea my life could be this good. That's the difference, the practice. Okay, next principle, one of the most effective tools. So one client brought up that her realization that emotions are normal and that the best thing that we can do is welcome them changed her life. So let's talk about that one. Emotions are normal. Think of it like the keys on a piano. This is how we talk about it in our community. So if you've got the keys on the piano that you're playing, if you're like, oh, I like how this note sounds. I don't like how this note sounds. This is a pleasant note. This is an unpleasant note. If you start taking all of the unpleasant notes or the ones that you like less off of the keyboard, yeah, you can still play some music, but it's going to be more and more dull the more keys that you take off of the keyboard. And that's how our emotions are. Like sadness can be unpleasant and it can be exquisite and amazing. And what happens is that when we open ourselves up to really embracing and welcoming our emotions, what happens is we start holding space for the wholeness of who we are. You start taking off keys on that piano, you start taking off the authenticity of who you are, because you're like, oh, well, it's only okay to express this way. This is a huge issue for how we socialize men, is we tell them it's not acceptable to express all of these other emotions, but you can express anger, so just express everything through that. And you think of the horrible results of that. When we are able to welcome all of our emotions and not feel shame around any of the emotions. And when we feel shame, be like, all right, we're going to welcome that too. When we're in that welcoming place with our emotions, what happens is we create space for our authenticity. Instead of our emotions getting stuck, they move through us, so we process them instead of getting stuck in suffering around them, and that it's normal. And I love that she said emotions are normal, because what it indicates is this, like, I don't feel shame around it. Like, it's totally okay. Think of how often we judge ourselves for how we feel. What would your life be like if you never judged yourself for how you feel again? If that was just not a thing that you did anymore. It's like, I don't judge myself for how I feel. Oh, I feel this way. I embrace it fully. It moves through me. The end. It's a much better life. Okay, next, most effective tool. Putting yourself first. Like self-care. I know that we all have this like, oh, self-care is important. I should do self-care. Yes, but really think of it in the depth of someone who has totally transformed their life, and that's the thing they point to, as this is one of the most effective tools. We oftentimes, as we're socialized as women, are taught that you can totally invest in yourself. You can totally take money and time for yourself, as long as everyone else is taken care of and you get what's left over. And guess what? There's never anything left over. Once you do everything for everyone else, there's not time and there's not energy and there's not money and there's not space left for you. It's a way to just delay. So when you learn to put yourself first, another thing we say in our community is the world is a better place when you are centered. And I acknowledge there are some really ridiculous and insane things going on in the world right now. And the world is a better place when you are centered, not when you're following every detail of the horrible things happening in the world and feeling frozen in your own life. And what can I do about this? You might not be able to do anything about it. I hope it gets better. But you know, the most effective tool to help the world is to focus on you. The world is a better place when you are centered. So the putting yourself first, the self-care, the centering you, I'm going to take the time, the energy, the investment, the money for me first so that I'm centered. And guess what? That makes a better world for everyone around you, and it makes like a better world. So caring for yourself. All right, another client said the most effective tool was the understanding of the shape of a healing journey, which is in a pendulum shape. We did a whole live on this, so you can go see that video when our app is live, and you can see the playback in other places as well. And how the pendulum works, the shape of the healing journey, is we are on one side of the pendulum, we let go of that, we swing over to the other side because there's momentum, because we've been off of balance. So once we're coming back into balance, it swings back to the other side, which is contrast, which is important, which is where we deprogram, which is where we find our authenticity, but it's not where we want to stay. It's not where we want to live forever. Sure, be angry. Yeah, that was an anger-promoting experience that you just left. Be angry, but you don't want to live in anger forever. Welcome those emotions, but you also, it's like not the life you want to live, to be in those contrasting emotions the whole time. So the healing journey is when you let go, momentum, you swing over to the other side, and then you come back to center. The she center is our community, right? Like, it's about centering you. It's about coming to your center. So that was a really big one. She said, like, understanding the shape of the healing journey so you don't keep on reacting and swing back and forth on that pendulum. All right. Oh, hello. There's so many of you on. That's so fun. All right. Here's the next one. Let me know if you want another one of these, because there's a longer list than we're going to go over today. But let's talk about a couple of other most effective tools. All right. Ooh, this is so good. One woman said that you are worthy of the practice, the time, the investment, the effort. So this theme of worthiness comes up a lot, where we feel like to take time for myself, I need to be worthy of that time. Or to invest in myself, I need to be worthy of that investment. And the truth is that you are worthy already. And also, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be worthy of anything. You can just make decisions. Think of how many people, especially how we socialize men, let's just say it, how many men invest in themselves in ways they have no business doing, take time for themselves in ways they have no business doing. It's not about a worthiness, because they never had the conception of like, am I worthy to golf all day while my wife does free labor the whole day? It was just of course, I'm special. So maybe like feel special. I'd be like, all right, you can either feel worthy of it because you are worthy of it, or decide that it doesn't matter because it doesn't, and just take the time, investment, effort for you. You are worthy of it, and you can just do it now. There's no barrier. Any barrier that you have in your mind of, I need to do this before I can take care of myself, I'm going to challenge you on that and say that that's just a made up thing, that you can just make up something else that gets you into action. Okay, so another client that has totally transformed their lives over years and has created a life they love, they said the most effective tool that they've ever learned at the She Center was the pilot analogy. So you've got a pilot and they're flying a plane, and notice if you're visualizing the pilot as a man. And if you want, feel free, because you're making up images in your mind, to change it into a woman. Okay, so we've got this female pilot that is flying the plane. So in reality, how many moments, what percentage of flying from point A to point B is the plane on course? This is a real thing. Like, what percentage of time do you think the plane is on course? 0%. 0% of the time. And most of the time, planes get from one place to another. They arrive at their destination. They sell tickets. They're like, I'm going to get you to this place, even though I'm going to be on course 0% of the time. So how do they get to their destination? Because they're constantly course correcting. It's like, all right, here's my destination. Oh, I'm a little this way, so I'm going to move this way. I'm a little to the left. I'm a little up. I'm going to go down. Like, it's constant course correcting the whole time. And this concept, like, that's how life is we're constantly course correcting. This idea of, I need to be right on track, or I can't do it unless I know it's going to be a straight line from point A to point B. It's not going to. That's not how planes get to their destination. It's not how you're going to get to your destination. You are going to be consistently course correcting. And that's why coaching and community and effective principles that actually work are so important, because they're like the dials on the plane. Clearly, I'm not a pilot. The things on the plane, the dashboard, the woogly wogs that let you know what direction you do correct back to. You need to be able to have a destination that you're moving toward. Okay. Let's do one more. Here's a good one. So, you have over 9,000 clients since 2010, and all this transformation and this group of incredible women that have totally transformed their lives, and we asked them, what is the most effective tool you've ever learned? This statement is what one of our clients, our community members said. And this was a thing that I said to her that I was like, oh, that's right, I said that. Okay. The people who complain about your boundaries are the people who benefit from you not having any. I'll say it again. The people who complain about your boundaries are the people who are benefiting from you not having any. It's an excellent clarification. So, most effective tools you ever learned, I would love to hear, what is that for you? in your entire journey, whether it's been with us at the She Center, and we welcome you in. I'm so glad you're here. A special welcome to everyone who might be moving away from a misaligned community that you've been part of on Sunday and are landing in more aligned places. A special welcome and love to you. And so glad that you're here. And think about what is the most effective tool that you've ever learned, whether it's been on your journey with us at the She Center, whether it's been on your healing journey, your transformation journey, and would love to hear what that is for you. Because as we come together in that wisdom, this is why soon we're going to have a Broligarchy-free app created by women, created by us, that is going to be free and available to every woman, with incredible principles, effective principles of how to actually transform, and for us to come together, be thinking about who is your She Circle, be thinking about who is your community that you want to come together with, to learn and to rise with, and to be together in community so that we can all come together and learn and get the coaching and the learning and the content, and then rise together as we're in that community. And let's start sharing those tools now and creating that community, because that is one of the most effective tools on a global scale of how we make change, is we come together in community and move our lives forward, because when you are centered, it creates a better world, and a better world for women is a better world for everyone. And that is where our focus is. So glad that you're on. Hello, hello. For those of you live or listening to the playback, let's take another deep breath together and continue to share the most effective tools you've ever learned. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.